What's going on, Legacy Hack subscribers? Yours truly, Tom McCart, coming at you. And I know typically we have Jack and Kyle on here with us, but today, everybody was tied up. I think Jack is in Hawaii, struggle there. And Kyle, I think Kyle might be either busy on multiple appointments or maybe his wife's having a baby. I don't know, but I still wanted to come at you guys and keep the flow of information coming and talk to you guys a little bit about infinite banking and kind of get you guys a little more educated, a little bit more of kind of the do's and the don'ts and the thought process behind infinite banking and what it can benefit you as a family and as an individual. But so today is going to be a solo episode. So I hope you can kind of handle me right here. So let me do this real quick. I'm going to jump over here some notes that I have actually on my screen. So I might be looking down a little bit, but just kind of bear with me. But today I wanted to talk to you guys about some principles that I did some research on and kind of found that these are kind of some quintessential principles of infinite banking, family banking, ever how you want to call it, that might be some thought-provoking, some things that you might want to know. So I guess I want to set it up like this. There are multiple schools of thoughts out there, whether it be, save as much money as you can, don't get into debt, and go that route, go that path, or, leverage your money to the hilt and, utilize those principles and those different techniques there to actually, work with your money or grow your wealth. Both of them work, but they all have different ways of doing things and how things operate that function. Well, in the infinite banking world or family banking world, the same concept, the same principles, can be found in this as well. One of those that you actually already know about is actually that you finance everything you buy. No matter if you're buying a car, okay, like let's say you buy a car and you finance that vehicle. So now you're actually paying the interest to that said bank or institution, or you actually go and pay cash for the car. Well, you give up that ability to take that money that you had that you put into the car, all right, and now you couldn't go take it and go make other what I call other baby monies, all right, or make other money with your money, so to speak. And that's kind of the whole thing with you finance everything. We talked about that a couple episodes ago, where that you do this without even thinking. And the reality of the underlying why infinite banking frames this so well is because your capital stays with you and it's your own capital, and you can actually take that capital and use it as collateral and go and take a policy loan out and go use that money somewhere else while your money stays intact, growing uninterrupted on uninterrupted compounded interest. And that's the deal behind that. Okay. So again, one of the premises behind this, as far as infinite banking, is you finance everything you buy. Okay. Now, the second principle I just want to cover with you guys real quick is actually that banking is inescapable. All right. Let me let that sink in. Banking is inescapable. No matter how you manage your money, you're participating in a banking system. Your check that you might receive from your job or your business income has to go into a banking system. You are going to be participating in a banking system no matter what. For the longest time of my adult life, up until the last 5 years, everything went through one bank, and then that bank changed, and now it's another name for a bank because it merged, because hence, banks merge all the time. But again, I didn't control, so to speak. I had cash in there, but again, I know that they were actually lending money against my money and making money off my own money. Well, in this infinite banking concept, guys. You have now the option to choose how your funds are used because it is your own bank. So if you shift and actually create your own bank, now it puts you in the driver's seat. I heard the analogy given with this that, if you have a community pool that everybody goes to for the community, well, that community has its own rules and regulations to that pool that you go to. You can't swim. The lifeguard will kick you out of the pool for adult swim. You have to be of a certain age to 18 years or older to be by yourself. You can't go if you're a minor. All these different things. Or you can actually go and have your own pool in your backyard, and you call the shots for your own pool, and you determine what you want to do with your pool. Do you see the analogy right there? So again, that's the kind of line of thought. Again, banking is inescapable. You're participating in it whether you think you're not or you are. So the next thing I want to just mention to you guys is people succeed by implementing a full process. So in essence, I never forget exactly where I was sitting when a speaker, I was listening to him up on stage, and he introduced this concept of a system of how to direct my money. And it was called the 10-10-80 rule. So 10% goes to, God and Lord Jesus, and then 10% you save, and then you live off the 80%. Well, I remember that was a huge aha moment for me as a 20-year-old, because now all of a sudden my money had a system. It had a process that it had to go through in order for it to function. And IBC can actually act as that way. Understanding IBC intellectually isn't enough. I'm just reading from my notes, by the way. Real success comes from thoroughly structuring a policy over funding it, borrowing intelligently with it, repaying yourself, repeating the process of capturing that capital. All those things kind of play into that whole entire, having a process for your money. So infinite banking actually has that, where you're going to build the policy up, where you can borrow against that policy, where you're going to repay yourself with interest on the policy loans, and then you're going to repeat the cycle deliberately. These are things that you're going to do. You're going to actually have a system for your bank. Okay. Well, one of the last things I'm going to just mention on this actual episode right here is when you start to actually build your bank, as you start to actually grow it and you start to see, wow, my policy is growing internally. The cash value is growing exponentially in here. And I'm really liking this. I'm really building this thing right here. Well, capital, here's the next one, number 4. Capital attracts opportunities. Yep. Capital attracts opportunities. Available capital doesn't just sit there. All right. It draws opportunities. Having access to your own financial asset, okay, lets you act decisively without needing a third-party approval. Notice that right there. Without a third private party approval. You don't have to go to another bank and document every single thing of your life and turn it over to somebody just to be able to access the money that might be you need for that opportunity. You can actually give yourself a strategic advantage by actually having your own system, having your own bank, and then going out and actually loaning yourself a loan to go and take advantage of that opportunity. Case in point, I'm in a conversation right now with 2 different individuals. They've got some homes. One of them is wanting to do a rehab on a home, a kind of depressed home, and then turn around and flip it. I would have the secure loan against that home that he is wanting to buy right now. So I'd have a security deed on that home, and I would make probably between 8 to 10% on my money in a short period of time, maybe about a year, okay, that we would turn that around. And the good thing is that that gentleman brought me that opportunity. I didn't sit there and seek out. He actually found me and brought me that opportunity. Now, whether or not I do the opportunity is another thing. I've got to go look at the property. I've got to go assess it. I got to make sure that I'm confident in this gentleman as he brought this opportunity to me. But again, it is that kind of mindset that you can take advantage of with these opportunities called infinite banking. So I'm going to leave you with those couple quick things. It was a short episode because I was solo with me, but I'm sure that we'll have another episode. Maybe we might talk about these concepts a little bit more. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in and have a fantastic day.